A man by the name of Darwin Martin. And it's a reminder that this is a very unusual house for 1903, 1904, 1905. These people were doing something that was quite unusual. So one of the questions you have is what kind of a person would sink, and the Martin family eventually would sink something like $173,000 in the building Martin House complex at a time when you could buy a basic house for $2,000. By the time he's in his 40s, ready to meet Frank Lloyd Wright, he's one of the highest paid executives in the country. Interestingly enough, he's almost exactly the contemporary of Frank Lloyd Wright. Your sketch is magnificent. We are much impressed not only with the unsparing labor bestowed, but with its taste and beauty. We will never move a chair or a footstool from its indicated position. But the Martins did not always accept what Wright presented them. The same
architect, such as living in the Midwest, the openness of the prairie, the influence of Sullivan when he was working in Chicago later on in his architect career. He got used to Sullivan's building concepts, and the use of Froebel blocks. Now, Froebel blocks are blocks that are kind of used by children. They're like our Lego blocks, and those three things influence his architect. We have to give you kind of a short tour today, so I'm going to hit things a little fast because I know you want to get in the house. That's the gem right there inside the house. When Frank Lloyd Wright lived, he lived from 1867 to 1959. Darwin Martin was born in about around 1865.
2 years older.
2 years older. And he made his fortune working for the Larkin Company here in Buffalo. It was a soap-making company, mail-order soap company. He wanted to build a home for his family, Isabel and his two children. They bought this lot in Buffalo, and these streets here in Buffalo were laid out by Frederick Olmsted. If you want to do some reading later, look up Olmsted. He laid out Buffalo's park system. It's a wonderful, great reading material. Original in this area, because I said it was laid out by Olmsted, was this home here. The house across the street was made by Wicks and Green, and the Church of the Good Shepherd, which has a beautiful Tiffany art glass window in if you'd like to see that later. We're going to give you an idea about what a prairie home is, that style. Because remember, Wright went on to live to 59. Martin died in 35, unfortunately, and this house laid abandoned into the 50s. So it was a lot of ransacking and deterioration. Windows are missing. But then a man rescued it in the late 50s, Mr. Torriello. He did some repairs and some rechanging inside the house. The house then in the 60s was purchased by the University of Buffalo. And then late in the 70s or 80s, it was purchased by the Martin House Restoration Corporation. And in our first phase of phase one, we've added a beautiful tile roof right now. We'll be talking about the style houses, and then we'll go inside.
I want you to think about a couple of things. First of all, think of horizontality. Think of wide ranging flat plains in the Midwest, and think about the same feeling here. You will look at almost everything indicates that you look crossways, not up and down. There is a low water table. As you follow up the bands, you will see bands of Roman brick, which again are longer and thinner than traditional brick. The mortar between them is very severely raked out horizontally, but almost flush with the bricks vertically. When we get a little bit closer, you can see it. So that really the light and shadow play horizontally. Keep following your eye up, you will have ribbons of windows. This is indeed a very important aspect of prairie architecture. All the windows, with the exceptions that we'll show you inside, most of the windows were art glass windows. Art glass is not stained glass. Stained glass has individual painted elements to it. Art glass is individual sections of already colored glass put together with lead caming. Please notice that the long, low band of roofing. It's a hip roof, but it's flatter than you tend to think of. It's covered with book tiles, ceramic tiles. It has, as Diane said, it's just recently been restored.